This is a Homeworks camp, and we all use it in different seasons. My husband and I used to take kids out here to teach them culture. A long time ago, they didn't share what they're sharing now. Even if it's just a little bit, the kids will remember and they'll know what to do. And they're learning something new, and it'll stick with them.
Well, we were making birch bark baskets, and we took squares of birch bark that we peeled off of the trees, and we folded the corners, and we folded them in on either side. So then we took some spruce root that was stripped, and then we used that along with an awl to poke holes, and we threaded it to hold it together. Then we also took some thicker spruce roots that were sliced in half, and then we put them on either side of the basket, and we used the thinner roots and we laced it around to hold it on.
This one here?
Is it a white chum?
No.
No, that's not a chum. White
That's called a broad whitefish.
Broad.
Look how big it is.
It's
It's real broad.
Hello.
So I came here to set a net and just show the kids the setting and checking the net, and then I identified the fish that we were catching and just working with them with different key things that help identify the fish. And every time we check the net, we probably come home with 12 to 15 fish with just 2 nets out.
So like when we went to check the net, we went up there and then we checked it. We got like 3 chum. Then we went to go check the little net, and it had whitefish, and it had 1 lush and 3 suckers. I got to let 2 of the suckers go because we didn't want to keep those.
Yeah, every time I've gone out and try to do a morning check, an afternoon check, and an evening check of the net, and every time we have multiple volunteers who want to go out. The kids are very excited about checking the net and always getting their hands fishy, and they're into the fish lots, just like I am, but so it's fun. I like to see the excitement.
So we're going to talk about the stages of cold water immersion is what we like to call it. So that first stage we talked about yesterday, what happens when you first fall off a boat or jump into water you don't realize is as cold as it is. Does anybody remember? Cold shock. So we call it cold shock response. What happens is our body goes through what we call a gasp reflex. It's something your body does that we don't have any control over. Your body's going to do it whether you want it to or not. So our gasp reflex happens whether we want it to or not. Anytime you fall into cold water or jump into water that you didn't realize was as cold, your body goes into that cold shock and you take a big gasp. It looks and sounds like this. And your whole body does that. So if I'm not wearing a life jacket and I fall into cold water and I take that big gasp, what most likely is going to end up in my lungs? Water, right? So that's why we want to have our life jacket on before we even get onto the boat, because if we fall off or we fall off the dock, we're going to have that gasp. And if we end up breathing in water, a lot of times our body's going to go straight into panic and we're going to end up breathing in more water. We don't want that to happen. We want to be able to pop right back up to the surface, take a big gasp, and it be air that goes into our lungs.
I enjoyed the view while we were kayaking. That was pretty.
And I enjoyed all the other people kayaking with me. Or not like all of them with me, but like with all of them by our side and talking.
I enjoyed how glossy the water looked. It was so pretty.
How many of you guys have been angry? Yeah, we have every right to feel those emotions. It's okay to be angry and it's okay to be sad. It's never okay to hit somebody or take out that anger on somebody else. But sometimes there are wounds that we have that nobody can see. And those are the hardest wounds to heal. And a lot of times we just feel like we need to talk about them, and that's where listening and being a good listener comes in.
Today we talked about suicide prevention, being a good listener, and knowing if they're sad or if they're angry that it's okay. and that there are people that can help them, and referring them to the behavioral health aide in McGrath if they do feel like they want to harm themselves, you know, being able to listen to them and maybe tell an adult if that's needed, because that's something that's very real that we face as Alaska Natives.
One of the students told me, I don't really get out to do Native things very much, and I kind of thought, well, I wonder how many other kids haven't had that experience before. So I think it's just important to have the kids, all the kids, even if they have no experience, to get together and do this stuff together and show that it's important to have our culture live on.
We have a group that's out moose hunting right now, and we're going to be having a community potluck this evening, so I'm looking forward to that and looking for already planning in the woodworks of Cultural Camp 2020 for our tribe.